So yeah, hi guys, how you doing? Today we have a very special guest on the show. We have Andre LeRoy Davis, and amazing artist. So you can see him down there. We're so blessed to have him on the show today. He's taking time
Mhm.
out of his day. Leroy is an artist, a writer, journalist, a curator. He's a teacher. He's everything rolled into one. And like, we were talking the other day. He's done it kind of backwards. He did all his commercial work young, and then he's gone into teaching on the other side. So it's like a real full circle journey for him. So welcome
Indeed.
to the show, Andre.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So,
Welcome.
yeah. So please just give us a little introduction about your career and what you have done, and just a basic overview of your style and the work you kind of you put
All
together.
right, you kind of did it for me, but I guess I'll have my Kanye moment where I just talk about myself. Been an artist forever. I don't imagine or remember a time where I wasn't drawing. That comes to the fact that I had an older brother, 8 years older, who drew. So started drawing probably straight out the womb, that type of thing. Was quiet, was shy. So early on, drawing was my voice, which allowed people to come to me so I didn't have to go to them.
Right.
So that was a positive. Um, was always in art classes, got the graduation award from junior high school as an artist, went to a high school called Art and Design in Manhattan in the early 80s, which was a foundation for the art, was a foundation for hip hop, because, I went to school with just people who became hip hop legends.
Right.
So it was just never a time where I wasn't listening to music or drawing or hip hop attached. And I was fortunate enough to take that into being an adult and drawing, writing, um, producing. I kind of had my hand in everything. Renaissance brother.
Good. Good.
Um,
Yes.
was a retired MC. I
Wow.
wrote I wrote lyrics. I produced songs. I managed people. I wrote for magazines. I drew, created logos, teaching. So I kind of made sure my foot was in everything, and still am. There's still things that I haven't done yet that I want to do. So that's the intention.
Exactly. And coming into the scene in those days, I mean, when hip hop was really having the big rise, like that was up there.
Mhm.
It was, some of the biggest stars, hip hop stars are coming out around that time. And it was, I mean, the energy and the wave
Yeah,
of movement was massive, right? It was such
yeah,
a great thing, especially in the New York area.
yeah. So when people ask, what were you thinking? How were you doing? The real answer is I was 15, 16. We were living life. We weren't thinking it was going to be anything big. It was just normal oxygen.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you were in part of the culture,
Yeah,
living it at the same time, right? Not having to
yeah,
try to get into it. It was it
yeah.
was it was your identity. Wow, it's amazing.
It just was. Yeah.
Incredible, incredible. So, t teaching is what an interesting thing. Now, so we've gone from commercial art and everything into teaching now. So, can you tell us a bit more about teaching the level of students? We did talk about this the other day, but I think it's
Yeah.
interesting for the listeners.
Uh, well, the running joke that I've had with some friends is since I was young and always drawing and wanted to get other friends into drawing, I would come to school and show them, teach them how to draw Godzilla, Spider-Man. So my running joke is I've been teaching motherfuckers how to draw since I was 5, but but I've been teaching legitimately probably since 2007.
Right.
And I started going. My father was in a nursing home at that point, rehab, and I would go, and there would just be dark rooms with just residents sitting doing nothing. And my ego at the time was, let me go and help these people in paint and help them out.
Yeah.
And then I started doing it, and it was like therapy for me, and it helped me out
Yeah.
because there was a 13-year-old kid in me who used to go to nursing homes with my school, and we would draw seniors. And
Right.
I
Cool.
remember doing it and enjoying it, but I remember this one old lady took one of my drawings and she's like, "This doesn't look like me," and she tore that shit up right in front of me.
Oh,
And I never drew live again
Wow.
from like the
oh,
age of 13 to the age of like 40 something.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, so that was
Everyone's a critic, eh? I mean,
yes,
it's
yes,
funny. It's funny though how that affected you to not
yes.
do it again, right?
Yes.
It's
So
bad.
having to do that with seniors, I had to break loose from that. And then
Mm.
breaking from loose from that allowed me to then say, all right, I'm gonna start teaching.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
then I had to draw live in front of folks regardless.
Again,
So
yeah,
all of that process led to now we're just teaching everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and I teach at high school, teach at the college level.
mm,
That's my main focus the last 9, 10 years.
Right.
wow, that's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The last word is something I definitely want to talk about. Is can you tell us a bit more about the last word? I know we're kind of bopping from subject to subject here.
That's all right.
Yeah,
That's what art does. We bounce all over different mediums,
yeah.
whatever's
I mean,
gonna get it out.
I think the whole last word thing is incredible, man. So please give us your insight into that.
Well, let me sum it up. Going backwards again, we had this thing in my high school, black books. So junior, senior year, everybody had their black book. They would give
Mhm.
you their book to draw a piece for them. That was the memory as opposed to just an autograph book. So I
Mm.
really found my artistic caricature voice drawing black in like other people's black books.
Right.
Right.
So
Oh,
I was making fun of friends. I was clowning them. I was combining hip hop and drawing my friends, and that was just the normal flow. So
No.
then years later, in 1990, um, the source came around. It
Mm.
wasn't the source then, so people was like, "How does it feel to be part of this?" It wasn't the source. It was a smaller room than this.
Right.
They had just moved to New York. They were in fully black and white. I was already
Mm.
freelancing about 3 years out of getting out of college. But it was like the old school. They had a magazine stand. I saw the source, looked for the address, looked
Mhm.
for the number, called them up. Turned out they were like a block away from where I was at
Oh,
Wow.
because I was heading home. Went
Mm.
over, met with the then editor in chief, John Schechter. He said he wanted to add an element of art into the back. He was a
Mhm.
fan of Mad Magazine. He talked about the folded page,
I love it.
Yeah.
and I was like, all right. Asked me if I could do a quick drawing of Easy E. They needed it in like 2, 3 days.
Mm.
I was like, cool. Asked how much. They told me $50. My brain was like, you don't want to do this shit for $50. But then it was drawing people that looked like me and it was drawing music. So I was like, took the chance. I didn't think anything major was happening from it. So just did it. Came out. They called me the next month, and that went on for like 16 years.
Wow.
wow.
And just you,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
man. That's crazy.
that's amazing.
Wow.
Beautiful.
I love that story, you know? And
Right, right place, right time,
yeah,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
letting your ego down for $50 and just still doing it just cause.
You know what I mean?
It's like
Go ahead.
you bought yourself in almost. Even though they
Yeah.
gave you money, but
Yeah, I got to because by then, I was still early days of freelancing, but I had done stuff for by then I had done stuff for Players Magazine,
Mm.
Discover Magazine, Emerge Magazine,
Mm.
Playgirl Magazine. So I had started, but I was mostly drawing white celebrities and people that I knew of because I know
Yeah.
unnecessary stuff. But to
Mm.
actually be drawing stuff that I cared about, even for $50, was a good thing.
Yeah, huge.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
You know,
Yep.
I mean, for me, that just goes to show how much the landscape of trying to get into somewhere has changed. I mean, back in the
yes,
Mm.
when you look on the back of a magazine, you see the physical address. You don't even see that anymore. It's like
no,
email,
No.
the contact.
yeah,
It's a form. It gets lost, and no one gets to see it anymore. But for you to be able to walk in the door and say, "Hey, here I am. I'm
yeah,
going to deliver the goods,"
yeah.
that
Yeah.
that's
You had
huge.
to have human interaction and conversation.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I only did it once. I went to New York to try to get a job with Blaze,
Okay.
and I dropped my portfolio off. That's my first and only time doing that. And one in Philly for the city paper. But after that, I said I'm good. But I mean, I was good by default anyway because you don't do it that way anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
once that started trickling away, I mean, I had two portfolios, and I
Mhm.
would I had my call sheet, so I knew what places looked at portfolios on Mondays,
Yeah.
what places you have to drop off early and get it in the afternoon, what places you have to leave it overnight.
Mhm.
So I would more or less plan my week of I'm going to hit GQ, which is
Mhm.
over by I think it was over by like 72nd Street. And then
Wow.
I'm going to hit Playgirl on the way home, and that was over by like 49th and Second Ave. So it's like I can hit those. So you have to plan those out.
But
Uh,
Dre,
drop
you
off.
was living in the mecca of illustration well, editorial illustration at that time, right? Because
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
remember having to be 2 hours away trying to go to New York to do
Well,
that.
the
But
thing
you were right
is,
there.
it was tough either way because it was
Hmm.
that double sword. It's they want to see your work, but they
Hmm.
want to see tear sheets. You
Yeah, I forgot about
can't
that.
get tear sheets to show if nobody's giving you a
Is
job.
that? See, I
Yeah.
forgot.
So it's like, how do I get tear sheets? I just happen to know a couple of friends who worked for magazines, knew how to do layouts. So I would
Hmm.
give them my artwork and they would do like a fake layout
Hook you up.
for me. And we would just go from there. So
Wow,
yeah.
Love it.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I love it when it's like more rogue style, which is like get the team together. It's like let's just get it happening, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now there's so much. It's so difficult for a young artist to get his work into a magazine or into, something these days because the market's so saturated and with
Hmm.
social
Yeah.
media, everyone gets so
Well,
diluted.
it's a different world now. They
Yeah.
they don't need to get in magazines. They don't
True.
need to do any of that.
Hmm.
Although I think things are cheaper, meaning
Yeah.
they can find somebody who's going to do a logo for them for $50
Mm.
as opposed to what I was charging 650.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then from those $50, they get some exposure and
Mm.
they can make much more money in the right situation than we did during those print days because
Yeah.
that's
Mm.
just how it's set up. But the bad thing is it's uh it's fruitful for some
Mm.
and those others who are just getting that $50,
Yeah.
that's just what you got to deal with. So it's kind of both sides to it.
Wow.
You know?
Amazing, amazing. And then, so did you cross paths with a lot of different artists and illustrators in New York around the time there? Was there like a network of illustrators and artists that kind of helped each other and propped each other up and kind of was it
Well,
super solo?
the way I was and still am to a degree, I didn't really talk to anybody.
Right.
I I
Hmm.
didn't I didn't I didn't have in my brain. I didn't have anybody uplifting me, telling me
Hmm.
how to do it.
Right.
Um, and in that artist world, you know, just because I'm dropping my portfolio off the same time as somebody else, I don't get to know them because you're leaving and you're heading your next place. And
Right.
then the
Yeah.
whole point is to get a job and go home.
Hmm.
So even the source days, I would not go to the source parties. I
Right.
would not hang out. My aim was not to get to know any of the MCs. I knew none of them
Wow.
Hmm.
during that time
Wow.
period. I know more of them now. My
Yeah.
whole thing was if I have to draw you and make fun of you, I don't want to be your friend.
Right. Right. Right.
So I did not put those relationships together. So yeah, I really, it's one of those bad things where I have to say a lot of the stuff that I did myself. I
Hmm.
didn't have any connections. I put
Yeah.
the work in. So when certain kids ask me, how do I become as successful as you? How do I get to do this? My standard answer is you got to put the work in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and nobody's
No
gonna give.
easy way.
Yep,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna give you anything. I have no hookups for you
Right.
because I don't own any magazine. You got to
Yeah.
have the work and show it to the person that I
Hmm.
can introduce you to, but
Right.
I can't get you the job.
You
Your
on your
work
own after
ethic
that.
and what you do is
Yeah.
gonna get you the job. I can make the
Yeah.
introduction. So if I talk to you and I think you are full of it, and I see your work, I'm not introducing you to anybody.
Oh, you
Exactly.
already know
Right.
that.
Yeah.
My-
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. You don't want to put your reputation on the line by putting up a hack artist or anything, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Just trying to get it.
that's kind of like how I am. I make sure that if I introduce somebody, I've seen their work.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
I've had a conversation with them. I
yeah.
don't want you to be an asshole and humble and then say, "Yeah, Andre Davis sent me your way," and they be like, because
Mm.
anybody who does that and the person they go to knows me, they
Yeah.
will quickly either call me
Right.
or say, "Andre ain't sent you because you're an asshole," and I know
Yeah.
I can feel your
Yeah.
assholishness, and
Yeah.
Andre wouldn't have sent you to
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, it's your reputation at the end of the day, right? When you suggest someone for something,
yeah,
you're putting your reputation on the line. You're speaking up for someone, which is huge. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
So
Cynthia.
when we were talking the other day, Jay, you were talking about working freelance projects and
Mm-hmm.
the issues of getting paid, which I've experienced as well. And do you have any advice for other artists, like to avoid getting burned? Because I've been burned a lot in the past. Like one client got me for 3 grand, and that really stung.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any tips for like us or for even for younger artists with less experiences to deal with situations like that?
Well, I don't want this to sound cold, but it might. I have absolutely no tips for anybody. The thing is, you just have to be on your toes
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
yeah.
I followed the tips, I followed my steps, I had my contracts, I have all the things that I was supposed to do line up. I sent you all the information for you to send you my stuff. I've done all the things you were supposed to, and most people, other artists, do all the things that I just said. What it
But it's
winds up
still,
is that person trustworthy who's supposed to pay you. We
yeah.
have we have absolutely no control over that if they are
Mm-hmm.
trustworthy or not, even though we're doing all the things we are supposed to. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say my advice is pray a lot, and hopefully they will come through on their end, because when you as an artist are trying to keep your reputation going, make
Mm-hmm.
sure you meet your deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you deliver exact quality that they ask for.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. And then it's up to them to, all right, I'm going to come through on my end as well. I
Mm-hmm.
told them you're going to have the payment by Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Monday comes and the payment is there. I don't have to call you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a luck. It's a luck thing. Most of the
Wow.
time I've been fortunate, but like you, I've done stuff where I think one of the last real times where I felt like I was screwed majorly was yeah, I haven't done that kind of assignment in probably like 10 years. A guy reached out, said he wanted to pay me through PayPal.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
He sent the payment through PayPal. And back then I had like my monies in PayPal and it was attached to my bank. I did the job, the sketches. He kept changing. He made decisions that he wanted me to do. And I was like, this is going to make the work look terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fighting it and I delivered what I thought was the way it should look since I've been
Mm-hmm.
doing it for a minute. It was drawing Donald Trump as a clown. He wanted me to draw him in full clown makeup. My whole
Right.
thing was his skin's already orange. Let me just put the white on his eyes and his lips and keep it like so you can actually tell it's him.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he got the copy of it. He disputed it. He had the JPEG and
Oh.
everything. He when he disputed it, PayPal took the money back, gave it
No.
to him, so he got the money
Oh, he
back,
tried.
and he got the
No.
artwork.
Oh wow.
No.
So
Uh,
yeah, so that made me just not do commissions for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
yeah,
it's
that's
hard.
nasty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard when you get burnt like that, you know. And how do you bounce back from something like that to say, "Ah, you know, that really, took the rug from out under me and kind of all my work, and it's really disheartening, right? Especially as
yeah,
already we're
Yeah.
already hard on ourselves, already we're
yep,
already, stressed out and anxiety and all kinds of stuff about showing a new piece and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah.
when you get
And
hit,
like I said, I was thorough.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you did it
But
all.
a third party
Uh-huh.
in like PayPal who doesn't know how art works, they didn't,
Right.
because I had to send them the sketches, I had to send them the work. But the
Mm-hmm.
fact that they still sent him all the money back after seeing the sketches and all the
Yeah.
steps I had done, I was like, yeah, I'll never again through PayPal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
But I
can't do
do
that.
something. Yeah.
yeah. I
You
don't.
can't see somebody. You can't run up on nobody to get your money. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, PayPal to me has always been a bit of a. It's just, but now,
It's it,
these days with Square and you can tap a card or send an e
yes, yes,
and stuff like that,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
So that was a good what, maybe 2016, 2017.
right, right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, since then, yeah, now the paying methods are different.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah.
you can't you can't bring a third party in and take the money back. So
yeah,
I never do PayPal for any kind of service,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And then, so any projects you've got coming up that you are working on, or things you want to share or anything like?
Well, I just finished a project for a well-known rapper MC that I did a new The Last Word for. They were
Wow.
they were a fan of my work back in the day, so they
Mm-hmm.
requested something to visualize them. Can't speak on it fully yet because they're looking to make an announcement on things, but
Mm-hmm.
that is the latest printed thing that's going to be coming. I'm always working on something. I have a shaft skateboard that I introduced maybe 2 years ago, so we're trying to re-push that.
Mhm.
And I'm working on a last word book.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, no publisher, nothing like that, but it's me putting it together. What it is it will be me telling stories. It'll be a sketch of it's a process. So it'll be the sketch, and then it'll be the final piece. And then certain ones will have an interview with the artist that was depicted. So like with
Oh, really?
yeah, so like with Fife from Tribe Called Quest, I was able to speak to him before he passed.
Cool.
So I sent him the 5 drawings that I did of A Tribe Called Quest. I asked him which one was his favorite. He picked which one was his favorite. We talked about that. He talked about why it was his favorite. So the book will have sketches, the final, and certain conversations like that where the artist picked which one was their favorite. Wow. So that's the flow of the book. That's why it's taking so long.
Very cool.
Hey,
very cool.
Do you get a chance if a regular person want to get a commission from you in like the last word style? How do they do that?
Well, if they just want a caricature and I got some time, I will do that. But anytime anybody attaches the last word to it, you got to pay me the last word kind of type of money.
That's cool. Yeah.
So that's how I distinguish it. So there's a difference just between drawing somebody's face and having to come up with a joke and backgrounds and so that's a different thing. So,
yeah.
Amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then guys, any more questions you have for Dre here?
Dre. Now, I know these things, but
okay, go for it.
Let's talk about when some of these artists have issues with some of your drawings, positive and negative.
Yeah.
As you know, the early days, we're talking 1990, 91, 92. And the only real hip hop magazines or places that talked about hip hop were Rolling Stone. Occasionally Spin would have an article. Then you had your Write-Ons and Rap Page, not Rap Pages. Rap Pages came later, but they were mainly focused on the photos and stuff. And Spin and Rolling Stone were more or less, I would say, white reporters and whatever who didn't necessarily know the texture of hip hop, writing about hip hop. So they would make fun of a lot of the hip hop artists and talk about how every MC had a gold chain, kind of like how I would talk about every country artist has a cowboy hat. So everybody has something that ties in. So here comes along a magazine where it is straight up hip hop. And when I started drawing some of these folks, they were not used to being made fun of or clowned, especially by a magazine where it was considered, it grew into being the Bible of hip hop. Sure. So I would say that I had a couple people mad at me through the years, from an Eminem to Rakim to DJ Quick. So in the early days, yes.
Rakim, what was his issue?
Well, with him, he had his manager reach out to the source. I had drawn a drawing of Rakim holding up a baby Nas.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like that. And I used the joke of, because everybody was talking about Nas was the second coming.
Right.
So I wanted to find a way to convey that. So I pulled from the Roots, scene in Roots, where he reached up and held the baby above his head. And said, "Behold, the only thing greater than myself." So I made Rakim, the father, holding up the baby. The intentions are all positive. You read all into it.
Yeah,
right.
But I think he had his manager call up, wanting to speak to me to let me know that there was no one greater than Rakim. So that was kind of a meek anger, as opposed to X-Clan looking for me.
Oh
in the streets of Brooklyn.
Whoa.
So I've had those, and then DJ Quick telling me never to come to California. So in the early days, I was threatened often, but I was young. I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I was like, hey, let's go.
But also, that's a testament to your work, that you were pushing buttons and getting reactions out of these people, right? So that's That's the most important thing, right? Your work was pushing people,
See,
to
but the thing was, as I said before, I was doing the same thing that I was doing in high school. I was making fun of
Mhm,
friends who I cared
mhm.
about and drew about them. So I cared about hip hop. So I didn't see it as something that would push your buttons. Because if I
Right.
really want to push somebody's buttons, that's easy to do.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
You
yeah.
you could just be foul and hit them below the belt.
yeah, yeah.
I
Hmm.
took I took time to know the facts. I
Hmm.
knew from listening to the music. I knew the research.
Hmm.
So when that was the case, I was like, it's not my
That's a problem.
intention, but I'm gonna keep doing what I do because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
And if I need to pull your card, then I can pull your card. One of the funniest things to do is when you take somebody's own words, you put
Hmm.
their words there, and then you do an illustration around their words. How
Right.
are you
Yeah.
going to be mad when it's something you
You
said?
said
But
it.
people
Yeah,
Hmm.
people do that very easily, though. They
yeah.
still get mad.
Tell me. It was a funny thing you told me about Diddy back in the day. You
Yeah.
did a person was like he wanted something personal done.
Now, it,
How did
it
that go?
was it was he was having a Christmas party,
Okay.
and he was also and he was giving away gifts and stuff to kids. So
Hmm.
he wanted me to do two different drawings for him.
Hmm.
So I come and I meet him at Bad Boy Records. He's
Hmm.
sitting behind the table. He asked me how much I would charge for it, and I said 3,000. And he looked at me. He's like, 3,000 Playboy? That's what you charge? Yeah, Playboy back then. Um, just let's just make note. I saw no baby oil in the picture.
Good, good.
Yes,
You
but
know.
I'm thinking to myself, you walk into a club and in the first 5 minutes, you probably
You
spend three
already know.
thousand dollars, and you're beefing about me going home to sit and create some
Hmm.
artwork. So I was not budging from that.
Hmm.
He wanted two different drawings. One was supposed to be of him in a Santa outfit outside of a club, and the other one was supposed to be him in a chair sleeping,
Hmm.
dreaming about the event. So it was supposed to be
Hmm.
a handout of the dreaming of it, and then the invite was the thing. So for me, I knew he was full of shit for me
Yeah.
because the Source magazine had just come out where Biggie was on the cover, and I
Hmm.
had drawn a last word of Biggie.
Yeah.
So the first thing he says to me after all that is, "Oh, I love your work. That's great." And I'm thinking to myself, "All right, so how did you like the Biggie? Here being your number one artist, here
Yeah.
being your label, here being out." And he said, "What drawing?" So I was like,
Exactly. Yeah.
"Yeah, you don't know my work." So,
Uh-huh.
so, but I wound up doing the drawing. I brought it in. I brought the first one in. He looked at it. His face changed. He wasn't really happy with it.
Hmm.
He said he had his flunkies around him.
That's
Uh, and he says to me, "I don't know. I look stiff. When I sleep, I look cool." And I was like, the smart ass in me is like, how you know what you look like if you
Yeah.
sleep? And all his people is around. He shows it to his people. He's like, "Don't I look stiff?" And what they gonna say? No.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right,
You
right.
do look stiff.
Yeah. So he wound up not using it, but he did not cut any pay. He wound up paying me full
Okay,
for
good.
that. So I give him credit on that because there's people
Hmm.
who would have backed that on that. And then they used the second one for the flyer, and it printed pretty good.
Hmm.
So that was my one of my Diddy stories.
Well, at least he paid you though.
He
Yeah,
paid me.
that's
Yeah,
huge.
that's cool.
He bitched and moaned and lied, but he did pay me.
I'm a cool sleeper, baby.
Yeah, I look cool when I'm sleeping.
Crazy.
Oh man, that's
Crazy.
funny.
So, Andre, we're running a bit short on time now, but I mean, I just wanted to thank you and say, do you have any just? I know you've given some words of advice to people and stuff, but like at the end of the day, like you're one more kind of word of advice for young artists, the scape of the art world today,
Yeah.
how to navigate it. I mean, you have touched on all those points, but if you could just wrap it up in one sentence, just kind of just give us.
Uh, okay, I might need two or three
Yeah.
sentences.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Sure.
I would say if you wake up in the morning and your instinct is to put pen to paper, pencil to paper,
Mm,
do that.
mm,
Draw because it has to come out of you.
Yeah.
If you are shy like how I was, that might help you find a voice to communicate. I still hate being in the front and center of attention, but I know nowadays, in order to get my work seen and taken where I need it to go, and to talk to kids and to talk to people, I have to get out of my comfort zone. So as a youngin', draw because you love it. Get out of your comfort zone. Getting out of your comfort zone allows your abilities to grow and increase. It allows you to connect with other people because although I am a loner and don't necessarily like conversation, when I do need the conversation, I like to have people available that are legit, that I connect with, and that are authentic. So you need all those levels. You need to love the draw and to draw. You need to get out of your comfort zone, and you need to connect with not just anybody, not just somebody you think is cool. You need to connect with genuine people because that will help you through. And I would say creatively, never stop dreaming or creating. So those would be my four pieces of advice.
Solid advice.
Always believe in yourself. Yeah, believe in your work,
Yes.
and stay true to your passion, and eventually things will come around. Hopefully, so it's the right people will find you if you put it out there. Your audience is out there. It's just a question of tapping into them.
Yeah. Build up that authentic body of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on that note, we are running us short on time, but I just want to say, I know time is the hottest commodity in the world right now. And Dre, thank you so much for your time today, man, for spending time with us. Just giving
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it. For
of course,
sure.
and becoming
definitely was worth my time.
Oh,
good.
Oh, and yeah, I mean, you've got a fan in me, and I'm really proud to know you, man. So thank you very much.
And I see we are all now connected on Instagram,
Good.
so that is a good thing. I hate those people who say keep in touch and don't mean it. So I try to follow through on what I do. So
love it.
I will reach out for sure.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
I will. You
Happy
too.
birthday to your mother.
Yeah, happy
Talk to you
birthday,
later.
Happy
Mom.
Easter.
I will tell her. Yes, happy Resurrection Day.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Take care, brother. Thank you.
Later.
Later.